Reading from Ecclesiastes, in the 3rd chapter. What do workers gain from all their hard work? I have observed the task that God has given human beings. God has made everything fitting in its time, but has also placed eternity in their hearts, without enabling them to discover what God has done from beginning to end. I know that there is nothing better for them to do but to enjoy themselves and to do what's good while they live. Moreover, this is the gift of God, that all people should eat, drink, and enjoy the results of their hard work. I know that whatever God does will last forever. It's impossible it's impossible to add to it or take away from it. God has done this so that people are reverent before Him. This is the word of God for the people of God.
Thanks be to God.
The writer of Ecclesiastes, tradition has it that it was Solomon, though the text itself never makes that claim, nor is it referenced anywhere else in the sacred text. But we know about when it was written, a good 300 to 400 years before the time of Christ. So those words that the choir sang earlier, and what I just read, are nearly 2,500 years old.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's an ooh. Think about that for a second. These words that an ancient writer put down, that everything that exists, everything, is where it should be. Everything that you are doing today is a result of these words. Let me read just one more verse. Whatever happens has already happened. And whatever will happen has already happened before. And God looks after what is driven away. And the reason I added those two verses is because I want us to think this morning about time. Now, we live in a culture that loves to mark time. There's a clock here. How many of you still wear wristwatches? Wow, more than I thought. If you don't wear a wristwatch, you have one in your pocket. You usually call it your cell phone. You have clocks in your car. Can you imagine if Henry Ford had said, someday there'll be clocks in your car? You would have called them crazy. Why on earth would you want to know time? It's part of who we are. We mark it. We record it. We anticipate it. We invest in it. We spend it. Sometimes we even waste it. But it's there. It's always been there. Or has it? Because when you hear these words of the teacher, as the author describes the person who uttered those words the first time, I want you to think about where you are in the continuity of creation. Because before all of this God was. And when time itself is concluded, when there are no more tomorrows, God will be. Now, where do we fit? We're told that for every time, there's a purpose. Everything exists in the time allotted to it. But, and this is where we take that metaphysical leap, God has placed eternity in your hearts. Think about that. Whenever you start to feel that the world is spinning too fast, or that there's just not enough time in the day to get all the things done that you want to get done, I want you to pause, take a breath, and realize that eternity is in you. Now, if you're not a little bit off kilter at that remark, sit down.
We are.
Oh, you are. Where's Bob to say something when I need him? If eternity has already begun, or eternity has been in your heart since the moment of your birth, since that moment when you drew your first breath, what have you done? On that day when you draw your last breath, will that be all there is? Because humans have asked that question, why am I here? What is my purpose? How do I make sense of tragedy or joy? How do I reconcile the God of love and purpose and creation at the same time looking around me and seeing a world seemingly broken beyond repair? Ecclesiastes tells us what the answer is. Because if we wait until everything is just right perfect, it'll never happen. But what if I told you that everything is just right perfect? That God is present now. Because these words that we read and we sang about are summoning us into a reality that we have built a religion around. We built this religion to teach us about hope and love and grace and mercy and life. We've raised giant cathedrals. We've invested countless amounts of treasure into the furnishing of these places where we gather, hoping for a glimpse of the divine. Sometimes we wait. And in those moments of waiting, we say, if Friday would only get here, if the kids would only get out of school so we can have our vacation, if the kids would only go back to school.
So we can have our vacation.
So we have our vacation. If we could only, if the snow would only melt so we can start digging our gardens. If the harvest would only happen. If we'd only get some moisture. If get to heaven, if I can be in the presence of God and say, why? How? Why? What was the purpose? How was I supposed to get through each day? The questions we want to ask God that we're storing up, thinking that someday we'll be able to ask God and we'll get the answer to the ultimate question. Bob, what is the answer to the ultimate question?
42.
Thank you. Sorry, that was a comment for Bob. From the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. But what if I told you that the question you've been holding on to for however many years you've been on this planet, what if I told you the question, the ultimate question that you have, which may be different than the ultimate question I have, is within you? Because this idea of mystery, this idea of other, is not something that we do particularly well in our culture. But we are people of faith. We are people who look to the cross and say, there, for one moment, it made sense. We look at a flower poking its way up through the dirt, and we say, this is good. We hear the laughter of children, and we say, there's hope. We smell the aroma of our beloved perfume, and we say, love. Love is worth it. In all of these things, in all these experiences, in all of our lives added together, is it worth it? Is it real? Is it of God? Because all the time in the world vanishes. Why for one person, this sublime moment when you hear the last note on a violin hanging in the air. For one person, that's God speaking. For another person, please make it stop. Why one person can see dandelions, the first flower of spring that the bees make their first meal from. Other people say, oh, they're weeds, we must kill them. With handheld tactical nukes. For some, work gives meaning to their life. For others, work is a drudgery and the price they must pay for survival. If we have all these extremes, all these things out there pulling us in each direction, how do we make sense of it? Where is God in the midst of all of this? Eternity has been placed in your heart. Is it time to begin? Because when we say to God, I am done marking time, can say, I am present with you. Because all the times, all the years, all the moving around the sun, all of that has led us to this moment where we say, enough. For God is present, and I am present with God, and that is why I'm here. That is the purpose for which we were created. Not to work, not to toil. I mean, those things are things we do in the interim. But if our ultimate purpose, if the truth that we have built this religious activity around is to bring us back to God, is to take us to heaven. And all along God has said it's there. But as long as you're investing in your time, you don't have time to step out of time where I am. Because this is one of those, we read this, we sing about it, those of you who remember the 60s, you probably had this on a t-shirt or bumper sticker. What have you been doing in the meantime? Isn't it time to come before God and say, speak to me. Speak to me your truth. Speak to me